recovering the weapon was a good sign.
Every gun leaves distinctive marks as it goes through the barrel.
Chicago police are confirming now that the gun found in that alley near an abandoned white SUV was indeed used to kill Jennifer Hudson's mother, brother, and nephew.
It was a .45 caliber handgun that was recovered near the place where the missing car and the boy's body were found.
Chicago authorities are saying Oscar winner Jennifer Hudson's nephew was probably shot in the SUV where his body was found. Investigators believe Julian King was alive when he left the house where his uncle and grandmother were shot dead.
My son's alibi was with one of his girlfriends. If William did do this, right, it don't mean am I going to sugarcoat it and say my son didn't do it. I know my son didn't do this.
I'm Pat Lawman for Nancy Grace, and that's a big break in the case. Let's go right to Natalie Thomas, Deputy News Editor, Us Weekly Magazine. Tell us more.
We do know, as you saw in the intro, that police today did confirm that they found, they discovered that the murder weapon was used in the case, the murder weapon was used to kill Jennifer Hudson's family, the gun that was found on Wednesday.
Wow, that's amazing. Kathy Cheney, reporter for Chicago Defender. It's a lucky break, but it doesn't mean it belongs to the person of interest, does it?
No, exactly, it does not. The police spokeswoman said that it has been confirmed as the gun, the .45, that was used to kill all three. However, they have not, found out who the gun belongs to, or should I say, who killed all three family members. Right. That has not been determined yet.
And my understanding, am I right, Natalie, that it was traced, the owner was in Michigan. He said it was stolen. Do we know anything more about that?
We do know that just as you said, the owner reported it missing. He lives in Michigan. We do not know how it got from Michigan to Chicago.
Yeah, such is the way with guns used in the commission of crimes. Correct, Detective Rogers?
Yes, they'll try their best to find out how it got to Chicago, but they'll try to lift fingerprints, perhaps some DNA. This is a tough one.
Lawrence Kobolinsky, what do they want from that gun, and how is it going to help or hurt the case?
Well, the gun is the central piece here, linking the three bodies, the two crime scenes, and I think we have to stand by for DNA analysis. Where you can't get fingerprints off the gun, you usually can get DNA, either a full profile or a partial profile. That's the evidence that will link the suspect to the crime scenes and the bodies. Also, back spatter, if it's present in the muzzle, that'll be swabbed and DNA tested as well. Stand by for those results.
Let's hear from the caller, Cindy in Pennsylvania. Good evening, Cindy.
Hi.
Hi, what's your question?
My question is, I read in the Chicago Tribune where Jennifer Hudson's brother was living with the mother because he was recovering from a gunshot wound that he received in a home invasion. Do you know if the cops were following any leads on the brother?
Kathy Cheney, who is in Chicago, what do you know about the brother?
The brother, he has had some trouble, some criminal troubles in the past, and right now the police won't confirm if they're looking at leads of whether he may have had some type of linkage to this or not. Police will just not confirm that at all.
And Bremner, they may know or may have the murder weapon, but that doesn't mean they got the murderer, correct?
That's absolutely correct. And, when we have a person of interest in this case right now, we don't have him being called a suspect.
Right.
And interestingly, in this case, we hear from Julia, Jennifer's sister, very little about our person of interest being guilty. And you have to think about, blood's thicker than water. If she thought so, that he killed her mother, her brother, and her son, she'd be saying a lot more.
Hugo Rodriguez, he apparently, according to cops, stopped cooperating and refused to take a lie detector test. Now, in your mind, that's perfectly okay, but in other people's minds, it's like, hey, why not?
No one has verified for me that the authorities have asked him to take a polygraph exam, because to do that would really complicate issues. The police would have to make great concessions to ask somebody to do that, okay? And I haven't seen that yet. There is no benefit to it, none at all. He's been charged, or he hasn't been charged. He's being held on a parole violation. They have no evidence to link him to this crime.
Patricia Saunders, clinical psychologist, I'm really moved by, I don't know if moved is the right term, but affected by the violence of this act, the extreme violence. What does it say to you? I mean, a gunshot through the door, the guy, whoever it was, is mad before he even got in the door, he or she, whomever. What does it say to you about the level of violence? Taking a 7-year-old child, shooting a 7-year-old child in the head, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, this is a savage kind of violence that speaks to people who may well be sociopathic, real criminals, could be gang-related too. There may be people who are used to living with this primitive level of violence and abuse.
Soleo, I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. Entertainment journalist. You interviewed Jennifer Hudson just, about a month ago?
Yes, it was about a month ago.
You know, I can't even imagine what sort of hell she must be in right now. Tell us a little bit about her, what kind of perspective you got from spending time with her.
It was amazing to talk with Jennifer, and my condolences go out to the family. She was someone who was very humble, very down to earth. She came across as just very warm, very giving, magnetic personality, and someone who cares deeply for her family. So we can only imagine the pain she's experiencing now.
Did she talk about her family with you?
Yes, she did. She spoke lovingly of her mom and of her brother and sister. About her mom, she said that Jennifer loves to draw. That's one of her private passions. And she said that her mother inspired her to draw. And she said that her mom said, you know, anything that her mom said that she could do, she ended up doing it, from acting and winning the Oscar to all the success that she has now. So her mother inspired her and really kept her grounded and gave her the confidence to succeed, as we are witnessing today.
Have you heard anything about what kind of emotional state she may be in?
You know, with something like this, we can only imagine the kind of emotional state. Of course, she's traumatized and in shock and in pain. Jennifer loves her family so much, and I just can't imagine what she must be going through. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Another caller, Tikwa in California. Hello, Tikwa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. What's your question?
Okay, I read that Jason also, along with the gunshot wounds, he suffered defensive wounds. And I was wondering if William, did he have like swollen knuckles or, you know, biting marks on his body?
Natalie Thomas, what do you, I thought the defensive wound was with Darnell. Am I wrong about that?
No, I believe you're correct about that. I don't know, to our knowledge, we're not sure about wounds on William Balfour's knuckle. We do know that about a month prior, he'd gotten into an altercation with Jason, and James Payton, who was coincidentally Jennifer Hudson's ex, broke it up and beat him up. William Balfour then became enraged, threatening that he would come back and kill Julia Hudson and the rest of the family.
Wow. Oh. Detective Rogers, I don't want to pour gasoline on the flames of fear here, but whoever this person is, or people who are responsible, clearly, I mean, if it's some sort of revenge act or extreme anger act exacted on an entire family, should Jennifer Hudson be concerned?
Well, this case would cause me as an investigator to lean away from any gang connection to someone close to the family. That poor 7-year-old boy who was shot and killed, he may have been able to identify the killer, and that's why he was executed. So yes, she should be concerned.
Patricia Saunders, I keep thinking, and I try not to think about, what kind of terror it must have been for that little boy. I don't know, just try to help us through this.
Well, you know, Pat, the mind, the brain has ways of protecting us that only come out in extreme situations. It could be that he witnessed his mother and uncle being murdered, and he was so numb and so traumatized. He was in an altered state and may not have been that aware of the imminent danger that he was in.
And it's very important to talk about the time of death there, Lawrence Kobolinski, correct? When he died is critical.
Well, that's true, Pat. The longer the post-mortem interval, the more difficult it gets to pinpoint the time of death. The range is very large. There are methods of, estimating time of death, body temperature, potassium in the eye. So I'm sure they have some notion of when death took place, but it gets a little complicated sometimes.
Very, very quickly, Detective Rogers, the time of death on that little boy also could point to an assailant or rule out an assailant.
Oh, it sure could. And like I said, it would cause me to point towards someone close to the family who that young child, could identify.
We've still got a lot more to do. There's still a lot more forensic examinations to do. Right now, we're extraordinarily pleased and satisfied that the weapon has been identified as the weapon that was used in the homicides, and there's still more work to do, which we are doing at this time.